عشان اللايف عالي قوي. كل واحد معاه. انت كده هتوطيه. اولا احنا بنبث لايف دلوقتي عشان كل حد يكون دريان بالموضوع ده. نقفله بقى خالص. مساء الخير جميعا. ممكن نوطي الصوت شوية بتاع المايك. هحاول قد ما اقدر ان احنا to conduct عربي وانجليزي، بس سامحوني العربي بتاعي طبعا مصري بحت، مش مفيش اي لهجة تانية هتطلع مني. حاولت وفشلت. I'm so honored to be back here again. I want to thank the Visual Arts Commission, the Ministry of Culture obviously for allowing us to constantly have these stimulating conversations and debates, and for the Diriyah Biennial Foundation for hosting us in this beautiful venue. Ramadan Kareem لكل حد. So we have a very, very interesting topic. I'm sure everyone here is part of social media, whether it be Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. There are so many tools now that we use to express ourselves and to express our art and to express our identity. And there was definitely a major shift during COVID and post-COVID as to how we consume social media and as to how what we produce for social media. And with me here on the panel I wish you guys were with us in the backstage conversation because it was very interesting and very stimulating. Basically, we want to talk about the role of social media in visual arts, the positives, the negatives, the takeaways, and everything in between, because there's so much that we learn from social media and there's so much that we gain from social media. And I have with me 4 panelists, 3 wonderful Saudi women, and Sufyan, a fellow North African, like me. So we have like most of the Middle East here, or we're trying. So just by the way of introduction, we have Najd al-Sahli, Sahli. أنا بقول لك اللهجة المصرية فشلت. Who's representing her brother, who has the platform Art Without Limits. خلود عطار, غايدة المكرن, and سفيان سي مش هعرف أقولها سي مرابط. مرابط احنا بالمصري بنقول M-O-R-A مش مرابط. بس also يعني I'm a big fan of every single one of my panelists, and I'm so honored to be with them here. And we're just going to have a conversation. It's very fluid, the positives, the negatives, and I want to start by just this very generic question. What do you see as your positives for social media, for the visual arts, and what do you see as your negatives? And Arabic and English both go. I think كله شغال.
Yes. To me, social media opened for me the art community. I was able to create these friendships with all the artists and even the institutions of art. So it opened to me the world while I'm still staying at home, especially during COVID. It didn't matter where I was always connected to all of it.
I agree, exactly. In terms of communities, social media was a key, it is a key tool just to create a community. وبرضو social media ساعدوني كثير بالتطور الإلهامي. We'll speak about that later, but it really helps me just to test ideas, to get new ideas. So, yes.
بالنسبة لأخوي عبد الله اللي ما يعرفه هو disabled artist، فبالنسبة له الديجيتال سبيس وصلته لجمهور كبير، سمحت له يوصل صوته وينشر فنه للعالم مو بس على مستوى المحلي.
لا انت قلتي مش مستوى عالمي، عشان انت قلتي دي اول مره انت تمثليه في اطار مستوى عربي.
yes.
عاده بتمثليه في مستوى عالمي،
صحيح.
برضو يعني ده هو السوشيال ميديا سمحت له
يوصل يعني طوكيو LA فرنسا، يعني على مستوى القارات يعني.
بالضبط. فده حاجه لو ما كانش عندنا السوشيال ميديا كان ازاي هيعرف يوصل او يتواصل بكل الطرق دي لكل النواحي العالم دي.
صحيح.
أول شيء شكراً، أنا سعيدة جداً أكون اليوم موجودة. أنا صراحة إذا كان في شيء positive أنا كان عندي مجلة اسمها ديزاين. مجلة ديزاين أول ما خرجت أو أصدرناها كان قبل ما يكون في حتى فيسبوك وإنستغرام. وكانت الفكرة إنه إحنا نوصل كل اللي قاعد يصير من إبداع في السعودية للناس. فمرة ساعد جدا بشكل كبير لما جات السوشيال ميديا، إنه كانت الإكسبيرينس أول إنه اللي المجلة تقدر توصلها بشكل برنت يقدر يعرف القريب أو البعيد ومفتوح. كده شغال؟
تمام سامعين؟ ايوه تمام. فكنت بقول انه مجله ديزاين قبل ما اول ما بدات ما كان في انستغرام فيسبوك، فمره كان صعب انه نعرف مين في معارض مين في مصممين. فالبوزيتيف كان انه صارت الاكسبيرينس حقت الفنانين والمصممين توصل للكل، يعني بتنتشر، صاروا الناس يعرفوا من جد مين في ناس مبدعه، مين معارض ممكن نحضرها، فالانفورميشن صارت اكسسبل. هذا بالنسبه للبوزيتيف يعني، واكيد في بوزيتيف مره كثير، بس ممكن النيجاتيف انا اعتبره انه الفيجوال لايبرري. يعني زمان كان ممكن لوحه او رسمه او صوره المجلات يكتبوا عنها، الفنانين الناس لما تشوفها خلاص يصير في تحفظ في ذاكره الواحد، لها تاثير. مثلا موناليزا، رودان ثينكر، في اشياء الواحد يشوفها خلاص تصير بارت اوف ثقافه المجتمع والناس. من كتر ما في صور بنشوفها يوميا في الانستغرام 10,000 12,000 صور مرة طوفان. How can we create a visual library أو نعرف مين الفنانين اللي من جد لهم أثر عند الناس؟ أنا
أنت عارفة على الموضوع الفيجوال لايبرري ده، في ناقد فني في مصر في الخمسينات كان كل ما يروح معرض كان بيكتب عن المعرض ده، كان يخش يقولك أنا دخلت من الباب من الناحية اليمين، وكان الناحية اليمين متعلق من 50 سنتي على ارتفاع 50 سنتي لوحة للفنان كده، ويكتب بدقة عن كل حاجة. فأنت خيالك يتخيل إيه هو الفن الموجود، بس هو كان من غير صور، كان بس بيكتبها. أنت دلوقتي الفكرة دي مش موجودة. أنت actually it's a very interesting point. هل الإيماجينيشن في الفيوتشر هيتغير؟ عشان احنا we are absorbing كله visual بس you're not absorbing زي زمان الكثافة بتاعت الكتابة، الكثافة بتاعت الشعر وكل ده، وده بيخليكي تفكري بطريقة تانية، وبيخليكي ان انت تكوني متنورة وتخترعي images وvisual language. هل ده من visual يعني من السوشيال ميديا مش هيكون موجود؟
But you could say the same thing when you read a book versus watching the movie.
Absolutely.
So I think it helps in a different way. صحيح it's visual بشكل مو طبيعي يعني، بس حيفتح آفاق أخرى to look at things differently even though it's still visual. بس ممكن الناس يبدوا زي ما أنت قلت إنه يخليك to think about something else. It inspires you in a different way. يعني another problem of social media is يقولوا إنه you see a lot of the same images which created copying, or people get inspired by the same things, similar ideas. بس أحس إنه not really. You could يعني كل إنسان لازم يضيف عليها his own touch after.
His own language.
Yes.
With this is something you touched upon, and the social media, Sufyan, you touched upon this, is your notebook. It's like your visual notebook. إن أنت دلوقتي بدل ما زمان كان عندك قصائص where you're putting them in your notebook, this is the way you're using social media, and you're using it as, because this is something we wanted to address. You have two parts, as an artist, and also you have a social media persona, the Confused Arab, which I'm a big fan of. If you're not following it, follow. I'm sorry if I'm doing a plug here. He has this amazing page, the Confused Arab. You learn so much from it. So how, like, also, like, I wanted to ask you, how is it that you wear one hat and not the other, and when is it that you wear this hat, and how does this impact your work relationship as an artist and as a social media content creator?
ما بتذكرين انه هيك كلمنا عن الموضوع من قبل، انه المشوار ما كان سهل، لانه انا ابتديت يعني الفن وبنفس الوقت ابتديت السوشيال ميديا، فبالاول الاثنين كانوا مرتبطين، انه all my pieces all the things القطع اللي انا كنت اسويهم قبل I was signing the Confused Arab. ليش؟ لأنه أنا كنت أفكر إنه the social media persona should get a physical existence. I wanted the experience تكون مثل ما يقولون digital، إنه
experience digitally يعني.
مزبوط، إنه الأشياء اللي الناس يشوفوها يعني على السوشيال ميديا كان إنه كنت أحس إنه كان في limitation تبقى بس على السوشيال ميديا. So that led me to more like, let's say, physical exhibitions. Sorry.
لا بالعكس، فأنت بتقول this transcended you to the physical.
بس من قبل كمان إنه it's linked to what you were saying before. السوشيال ميديا ساعدتني أخترع يعني community. لأنه لما الفنان يسوي شيء قطعة حيلا شيء يسويها لنفسه، بس كمان just to share a message to a community. And that was very important for me لأنه it's always linked to nostalgia، الحنين، to الشتات العربية والإسلامية. To see that it has an echo مش بس للناس اللي عندهم نفس الباك جراوند، نفس الخلفية مثلي، بس ناس مثل ما كنت تقولين، ناس اللي يكونوا عايشين يعني في برازيل، في ساوث أمريكا، في أمريكا. And that's the beauty of it also. Social media are a test. They're a test to experience a lot of things. They are also for me a way to, as you were saying, it's my notebook. كل يوم لما أصور شيء ما أصورها بس because I find it beautiful or I find it، لأنه كل مرة في فكرة وراها. So that's still a test just to see myself. I'm seeing it like this. Is it something I'm just seeing it أو بعض الناس حيشوفون يعني نفس الشيء؟
وترى I'm addicted to your page. يعني أنا when I want inspiration I have to go to
شفتوا كلنا لازم نعمل follow.
definitely everybody should follow his page. Going back to the إنه الخيال والnarrative basically. يعني هل ولت الخيال؟ لا، أنا I think مهما الواحد بيشوف صورة، كل واحد فينا بيشوف الصورة بطريقة مختلفة. يعني ما بيشوف الصورة بنفس الطريقة اللي أنا حشوفها أو أنت حتشوفيها. فأنا I could see your page in a certain way وممكن ما هي تشوف البيج ب a different way. وهذا بالعكس اللي خلينا إحنا نسافر. كنا بنتكلم عن السفر
بالضبط.
يعني إحنا we can travel دحين عن طريق الإنستغرام، بس ليش بنصر إنه إحنا نسافر أو to experience an art physically في الإكزيبيشن is to have our own narrative or our own experience for it يعني.
أكيد.
I don't think it will limit يعني بالعكس I think it will encourage يعني.
طب من منطلق your brother for his practice how did this يعني ازاي هو يعني النقلة حصلت ازاي للسوشيال ميديا وايه الادوات اللي خلته ينتقل الى السوشيال ميديا؟ I think that's very interesting for us to نتكلم عليها.
انا حابه بعد اجاوب على اللي قبل. بالنسبة لنا لأنه إحنا في زمن مرة سريع والأغلب عنده جداول مزدحمة، الشغل، فما راح يقدر يقرأ مثلا كتاب أو باراجراف يشرح فن. فالصورة دائما توصل المعنى اللي نبيه بثواني يعني، وممكن أنت تشوفينها من زاوية مختلفة، الفنان الثاني يشوفها من زاوية مختلفة. فعبد الله بالذات يعني أوقات عنده مو صعوبة بس إنه يحب إنه فنه يتكلم عنه. هو عنده satisfying art digital motion بدأ في 2018، تعلمها 2018 وانطلق 2018، ومع كوفيد انتشر عالميا. فحتى هو بالنسبة له تفاجأ لأنه كان يسوي الفن مجرد إنه وقته للباشن حقه، ففجأة العالم تتصل عليه تتواصل معه. فكان بالنسبة له مرة يعني أنا شوي قلت ايموشنال لأن عبد الله يعني لو سبرايزلي يعني هو يسوي كل هذا الفن ترى بإصبع واحد. فبالنسبة له بالنسبة لعالم الفن إنه شيء فوق الخيال، إنه يعني شغله شغل بيج ايجنسي مرة دقيق مرة نظيف ومرة سريع. يعني لما يسوي فن ويشتغل مع ايجنسي أو كولابريشن مع ارتست ثانيين 6 ساعات يضغط نفسه بعدين يطلع البيس. فبالنسبة لنا إنه
ما شاء الله. بس هو برضو حصل له النقلة دي because of social media يعني. صحيح. احنا لو ما كانش عندنا التولز زي انستغرام زي فيسبوك زي كل التولز دي ومينلي انستغرام يعني احنا as people في الفيجوال سيكتور انستغرام is our biggest tool. It's يعني it's this اللغة بتاعت انستغرام يعني. انا كل ما بيحاولوا يغيروا حاجة في انستغرام والله بزعل عشان انا هو اساس فكرته كانت عجباني. انا مش عايزة اشوف ريلز، انا بجد مش عايزة اشوف، انا ما بحبش الريلز فسوري يعني ان انا بقول كده، بس انا عايزة اشوف صور. انا actually عايزه اشوف صور وعايزه اسيب الصور دي وعايزه اتعلم الصور دي. مش عايزه اشوف واحده بتعمل my god مش عايزه اشوفها بجد، مش عايزه اشوفهم يعني عارفين. ف I think it's very important for us يعني انه لو انتهى انستغرام بقى ريلز لازم يبقى في بلاتفورم تاني للفن، انه هو ده يعني منبع فن.
بس كمان في ريل ساتيسفاينج يعني الشجر بس تتحرك.
ما شفتهمش دول، انا لازم الاقيهم في الاكسبلور بيج بتاعتي، ما ظبطوش لسه. طب انا عايزه اقول كوت ان احنا we talked about اللي هي بتاعت اندي وورهول اللي هو قال in the future everyone will be world famous for 15 minutes. and احنا we touched upon this شويه، انه الناس شويه بتستعمل برضو ارت بلوجرز وكده، انه الاكسبيرينس يعني ان احنا سيلفي مع الارت ورك دي. يعني كوساما as much as she's a fantastic artist هو كل حد عايز يبقى مع كوساما عشان هو عايز يتصور في الانفينيتي روم.
لا بس للناس اللي ما بيعرفوا انا خبرتي المهنيه اللكجري ماركتينج كمان، فمتخصص شوي بالكونسيومر انسايتس ولاحظت شيء وكلمنا عن الموضوع من قبل، انه انا اعتقد انه الثقافه والفن اخر حدود. شو قصدي باخر حدود؟ في كتير اشياء ناس يقدرون يشتروها، بس التيست الذوق والثقافه كتير صعب. انه واحد يشتري لوحه يقول ايه خلاص انه اوكي عندي فلوس انه راح اشتري يعني اغلى لوحه، بس اذا ما يفهم ما يستوعب يعني الشغل والوحي والالهام حق الفنان is just a big marketing. So I think that عشان كذا اعتقد انه الفن بالسوشيال ميديا تخترع مثل إحباط عن بعض الناس، لأنه they can share a lot of things. يقدرون إنه أوكي يصورون نفسهم بالبيتش أو بالبحر أو beautiful hotels أو كذا، بس للثقافة والذوق مرة صعب يعني الواحد you can't buy it.
But it could be the first step of educating people. For example, لولا إنه الناس they wanted to take that selfie with that artwork. This is the first step into that gallery or into that museum. Then they'll be more interested, they'll read about it, and inshallah يعني petit à petit they will start.
It's a democratic form. I think social media made the art experience democratic and accessible. إنه خلاكي مش خايفة. ما هي راحت دلوقتي المتحف ده ودخلت الانفينيتي روم بتاعت كوساما، طب ما أنا ممكن أخش أعمل.
فينطرح السؤال يعني democratization or vulgarization؟
ما أعرفش.
No, it used to be elitist, and I think people were afraid to step in. وإنه السوشيال ميديا شوية خلت الناس يتجرؤوا.
هو accessible يعني. بس هو له شقين، هو accessible ولا بقى excessive ولا بقى أنتي ultimate consumer فأنتي عايزة على طول بقى تاخدي وتاكلي وتعملي.
لأنه في أنواع من الفن اللي مش للكل. Sometimes when I do things I don't expect people to be I love it, because some of the pieces I will do are not for everyone. Like one of the first things I did was a reconstitution of a حمام in the future اللي كان اسمه حمام الغد. People were like ليش حمام عربي إنه واي خلاص ما لي خلق إنه أنا. Sometimes it's not the job of the artist also just to explain all what you have. So you have this schizophrenia sometimes where on social media I can explain a lot of things, but عملي I'm not going to explain it. You have also just to understand that's my world. I'm giving you a lot of cards يعني just to understand things, but this so yeah.
I think التجربة السعودية تختلف يعني يعني احنا قعدنا زمن طويل ما كان في نقاد فنيين، ما كان في الاكسبيرينس ان الواحد يروح معرض واكسبيرينس المعارض. بس لما صراحة الجوفرمنت الحين ووزارة الثقافة is funding يعني creating these massive amazing projects اللي من جد يعني really supporting الارتست. فكونه انه بداية الخطوة الأولى is people taking selfies with the artist, to me I don't mind it. At least now this is the stepping stone اللي بعد كده حيصير في art critics. حيصير في content creators for art that are actually discussing this art as movements, and this will be the natural and true development of art في السعودية يعني. And that's why أنا بالعكس أفرح لما أشوف أحد واقف with an art piece and they know about it وبيتحمسين يحضروا معرض they're taking part of exhibitions. This is way going يعني a whole different experience من آلاف المعارض اللي ممكن في بلدان زي ممكن المغرب ولا في مصر أو كده. فبالعكس يعني إحنا السعودية أنا to me this is pride يعني
في فضولية يعني في فضول إيجابي قصدي بس في فضول بعد إنه سطحي أو يعني that's also the point of all the conversation we're having now. As artists sometimes social media are great opportunity يعني إمكانية تاع الواحد ينتشر شغله ينتشر يعني كل الأشياء اللي بيشتغل عنه. بس بنفس الوقت now an artist has to be very good in PR. An artist has to be a good speaker. An artist has to be a good writer. لأنه خلاص فنان ما يقدر بس يحط يعني صورة بدون تعليق.
الفنان طول عمره لازم كان يكون ليه فكر، لازم كان يكون ليه منطلق ما بعد. ما كانش هو بيبتكر بس عشان يبتكر. طول عمره الفنان الناجح هو الفنان اللي هو فيه حاجة ما بعد اللوحة، مش هي بس اللوحة اللي موجودة.
أنا معاكي بس قصدي إنه من قبل الفنان ما كان لازم هو يشرح كل شغله. Like we never saw, I don't know, just thinking about Picasso, but I can't think about a lot of people staying in front of a TV and explaining, yeah, so my work is about this is what I want to do. يعني جرنيكا
لما كان في نقاش
كان في نقاش عن جرنيكا
بس هذا الحلو انه كان في نقاش. وللاسف انه الحين المطلوب من الفنانين يفسر نفسه
لا وبعدين
ما يبقى نقاش يعني.
والفنان الناجح اكتر مش بس لازم يفسر نفسه، لازم يفسر نفسه بطريقه
ماركتينج
تجذب الاودينس.
يعني ماركتينج بس اكثر من ماركتينج يعني if you see how you have to it starts from writing an art proposal to present yourself to كذا كذا.
لا احنا we talk about the one of the most successful artists, two of the most successful artists, living artists right now, Jeff Koons وداميان هيرست. هم ABC marketing. هو الموضوع ABC marketing يعني. وهم actually the highest the best selling artists in terms of value right now. والموضوع marketing.
بس هاكني for example ما بيحكي كتير عن شغله.
different generation أكبر. هو في يعني أنا برضو what's interesting for us to look at إنه اللي هيجي بعدين اللي هيجي في الفيوتشر. احنا دلوقتي في ناس اتولدت كل حياتهم ما يعرفوا السوشيال ميديا. احنا اتليست الحمد لله عندنا جنريشن انت عشت قبل السوشيال ميديا وعايش في حياة السوشيال ميديا وممكن تخلع من السوشيال ميديا. تخلع صعب يعني. انا واحدة بحاول بس ما بعرفش اخلع يعني. ده جواز كاثوليكي.
انا مولود بنفس الوقت
بتاع السوشيال ميديا. اكيد انا غلطانة. سوري as an artist yes but he had a life before social media يعني أنا social media had a huge impact in my life وقت الثورة المصرية 2011. تويتر ده كان اللي هو لازم ابقى على تويتر عشان اعرف الاخبار الانستنت اخبار. this instant need for news content and consumption كان وقتها. وبعدين اللي هو انت there is this constant reaffirmation. انت عايز تعرف اللي بيحصل فانت عايز تشوف الصور الجديدة. انت عايزة تعرفي ايه الناس بتحب ايه to constantly be connected. the community is fantastic.
بس غير كمان خلى الفنانين يتغيروا في نوع الفن اللي بيقدموه.
ازاي
يعني
بقى؟
في فنانين مثلا في فنان his art form is a social media art form يعني he goes around بيشوف أشخاص random مثلا he does graffiti على التيشيرتس حقتهم. This is an art form made only for social media to be spread on. مثلا بانكسي لما في سوذبيز ولا
عندنا
شردد ده كان عندنا القطعة اللي كانت
product placement
هو by the way كان genius يعني.
It's genius يعني it pushed the artist إن هم يغيروا الطريقة حقتهم to adapt في السكويرز basically. أنا أسميهم صار فنهم في حيز المربعات زي ما كنا بتقول كنا بنتكلم إنه إحنا دحين صاروا الفنانين بيفكروا كيف how will their art look within the grid حق الانستغرام يعني.
أكيد. طب عندي سؤال بالنسبة لأخوك is he why is he creating and for what purpose is he creating؟
في البداية كان يسوي الفن مجرد إنه يسوي الفن لأنه يحب يشتغل ويبي الناس يشوفون عمله، وترى كان مجهول الهوية إلى السنتين اللي راحت، بعدين طلع باسمه لأنه مو حاب إنه العالم feel sympathize with him and his art. بعد ما طلع وطلعنا بارت without limits، الفكرة فيها إنه created by disabled artists for disabled artists، لأنه يبي يسوي بلاتفورم وين إنه ينزل ارتكل استرشادية للفنانين اللي عندهم disability، وحتى يساعدهم إنهم يصنعوا التولز اللي تساعدهم to create the art itself، لأنه السوفت وير كلها ما هي داعمة للأشخاص من ذوي الاحتياجات الخاصة. التاتش باد، الكيبورد، الاكويبمنت مرة صعبة على الناس اللي عندهم disability. هنا عبد الله قاعد يدخل إنه يتعاون ويشتغل انهم يصنعون او يسوون سوفت وير تساعد الفنانين with disability انهم يرسمون ويسوون فن ويوصل للعالم.
I urge you all to بصوا على الصفحة بتاعت عبد الله. Also it's such an inspiration for us all ان احنا to know ان بجد هو ما فيش حايز الليمت ده، هو حايز حاجة في مخنا احنا. ف it's all about how you break this mental barrier to go beyond this mental barrier, which is so important as an artist as well. Because يعني أنا my mother على طول تقول لي عارفة نفسي أعرف الفنانين بيفكروا إزاي، إنه إزاي بيقدروا يحولوا حاجة من فكرة to execution, imagination دي. And she's always and it's something I never thought about. أنت كفنان أنت بتختاري حاجة من فكره. يعني انا دلوقتي لو اديتيني ورقه وقلم والله مش هعرف اعمل حاجه ستيك فيجر اخري. يعني ممكن اعمل حاجه قتال عدنان، بس ستيك فيجر ده اللي هعرف اعمله. هقلد I will copy. بس to create and to create something new and innovative, that's also genius. That's a capacity.
And make it accessible is also
making it accessible with having a disability is even an added, like it's a different level of excellence, I think.
Which makes me think, is AI art or not? Is it بالعكس helping making accessibility to create something using AI or will ChatGPT create artworks? Is this considered art ولا لا? This is a new form of art where you could type in certain
Code.
words and it create artworks. This is دحين في السوشيال ميديا بيخلي أي أحد ممكن يكون فنان. أنا بالنسبة لي بالعكس إن الواحد لما he create certain words وبتطلع عمل فني this is still art. بس
لأنه أنت تخيلتي هذه الأشياء مع بعض،
صح؟ نعم.
لأنه أنت تخيلتي هذه الأشياء مع بعض. So the combination is the artwork.
Is creating the artwork يعني. بس it could help كمان في accessibility إنه making it more accessible for people to use يعني.
I think the topic of digital art and the topic of AI is something that is very interesting. It's something I'm very scared of personally. I'm scared of because it's something I don't understand, and I think maybe with everything new and some things that you don't understand, they're scary. Like with the onset of innovation, with the onset of technology, they can appear to be scary. But I don't know how the audience will be receiving this new form of, it's a new form because we talked about it, digital art or NFTs. Those are different forms of art, and it's exactly like what let's say abstract expressionists decided to start painting, or when the impressionists started painting and the salon told them, oh, we don't accept it, we reject it. But behind these artworks were people. So I don't know what is they are humans. So I don't know what is the reaction of the audience behind a completely I don't know. I'd love to hear you as artists, as digital creators. What are your feelings about this?
I still didn't develop any feelings yet. I have no idea.
يعني you saw in social media there was an artwork that won an award. There was an art competition, and an artwork that was created by AI won the award. So it was the computer that created the artwork. So if a computer created the artwork and it won the award, طبعا the artists كلهم they went crazy, the art world went يعني insane في social media إنه يعني besides taking our jobs, now they're taking our art form. And how is that taken from the culture? It's taken from computer analytics. But then again, on the other flip of the coin, there was an artwork that was created by a poem. So one person actually created an artwork using a certain poem, and that poem translated into an artwork, and it's beautiful.
But that's not really AI creating it. It is AI, but it's also there's a creator behind it, because this creator wrote a poem, and this poem is for
It's
example,
reflecting that poem.
it's reflecting that poem, because if you look at I don't know if you remember the work that was in the first Diriyah Biennale by Shono, where it was this artificial. It was a wonderful project where there was this robot which was creating the artwork, but the whole sort of the programming and the mind is the mind of the artist manipulating this robot. So I think there's a difference. There's a total difference when you have this and that. I think the problem is, it's not a problem. I'm sorry for this use of word. I think the point is, how are we going to feel when there's no human creating something, and we're consuming this content that is not created by humans? I don't know. It's a very loaded question.
No, because I don't know if we have to accept that كمان. يعني لأنه مثل ما كنا بنحكي before بالكواليس عن أنت العدنان.
في الكواليس كنا بنتكلم كتير.
I don't think that we need to judge arts بس على الاستنتاج with the results. Art is not just about the results, it's about مشوار التوادكشري process. So I think that every time the question we were just discussing now about AI, if it's linked, if the AI is a way, وسيلة, كمان يعني نقدر نعتبر إنه هذا فن. But if it's just something without feeling, without personal story, is it art?
Some people feel the same way with found objects. So the artist he found it, and he has this concept behind it, and he places it. So it's very similar to the AI. Then it's the story and the idea behind either the object or the AI creation that I think dedicates if it's art or not.
I agree. And do you think social media actually helped because you can actually see the making of or the story behind certain artworks or the thinking of the artist? This makes people more attracted to the art. And I always want to ask artists this.
That you're attracted to the art because of the process?
Yeah, it makes people more attracted to the artwork because you know the story behind it, when you saw the process of making it.
So this
بس sorry لأنه قصدك إنه بدون explanation, without clear explanation, sometimes it can be just hints. You know, for example, I was part of the residency in العلا. The piece I did, I spent 2 months in العلا. يعني شهرين أنا كنت مقيم في العلا. Exactly. I didn't share exact details of the piece, but I share a vibe, like where I was, that I was living in Oasis, that
you were teasing us.
It was not teasing, it was just for people to understand that
it's okay. teasing
مش مشكلة, teasing is good مش مشكلة.
هو لأنه على الآخر إنه القطعة جات مثل مفاجأة، إنه كل قطعة كانت عبارة عن طقاقة العلا، آخر طقاقة في العلا. So and she didn't actually share anything. She didn't share with me anything at the beginning. So I mean, we were working together, but she didn't want to be filmed in social media and everything. وأنا كمان يعني طبيعيا I never thought that, hi guys, I'm with the tagaga, I'm going to share you. So it's why it's interesting just to see the difference.
Okay. No, if you shared or if you didn't share.
Yeah, it came naturally. It was it was not.
I was actually following the آخر طقاقة في العلا. Yeah, that was very interesting.
As humans, we like to peek. So that's an interesting part of social media where you can like take peeks in someone else's life or in the artist's life or his process.
But by the way, it's very interesting. I used to live in New York, and whenever I used to walk on the Upper East Side or like anywhere else, I used to love looking at inside people's home windows. I see البيت شكله ايه, what they painted.
You make up a story, huh?
Voyeur. Total Instagram is voyeurism, by the way. Instagram is voyeurism, but it's voyeurism.
Agreed voyeurism.
Agreed voyeurism, but by the way, if you're keeping your blinds open and you're hanging a painting and everyone can see it from the street level, it is voyeurism, but it's not. I'm not sneaking into the house behind closed. I'm just looking, and it's always interesting. For me, it was more of an aesthetic. Okay, I'm obsessed with interiors. Like, I'm obsessed with how things look. And I always was very curious to see, why did they paint the wall blue? And why is this wallpaper? And that was my fascination. My fascination wasn't like who was inside. They could be whoever it is. But my fascination was always with this aesthetic, you know. How are people placing objects, or what objects are being placed? What objects are being placed? And it's exactly what you're creating. Gives a hint to your identity, but really does it? Yeah, that's also the counter project. Now on social media, we're curating this persona.
أنا معك إذا في التزام، لأنه لازم يكون في التزام من الفنان أو من السوشيال ميديا أكاونت
to show the process.
To show a few things. إنه لازم يكون في يعني عفوية بس بنفس الوقت يعني التزام. It's what we are talking about, the dictatorship, ديكتاتورية المربعات. لأنه صار الفنان يفكر إنه كيف عملي راح يصير بالمربع. So that's very interesting. And that's something we need to accept, we need to work with, بس بنفس الوقت
showing a bit.
So yeah, I think that وفي فرق يعني بين الفنانين في فنانين who are using, like, let's say, social media just to show their final work without showing who they are. انه خلاص the galleries told them لا خلاص انت يعني لازم انه تروي شوي للناس عملك. And then you have people who are just sharing their universe, their vibes. Who are they? And
but you're right, yeah, it's curated.
يعني بالنسبة لأخوكي, most of the social media content is dedicated to his art, and that's it.
Yes.
And he creates it for social media specifically, or is it created for
digital space? Because for him, digital art is for digital space. That's yes. Yeah.
What he believes in.
Yes.
So it's not curated. This is what he's constantly created.
Yes.
Exactly. As opposed to everything we're sharing, this is the difference. It's curated. أنا دلوقتي ببص على الجريد بتاعتي بقول أنا عملت صورة فيها وشي 4 blocks ago، دلوقتي مش هحط صورة تانية، هحط صورة عن والله أنا أولاً أنا I didn't start this Instagram page at all to be anything, and I'm not a social media creator. I'm not ولا حاجة يعني، بس I just do it out of fun. But it's like my notebook as well. It's a bit of my notebook. But اللي هو yes, it's curated because there are a lot of things I won't share. There are a lot of things I'm scared to share. There are a lot, not scared as in scared of the reaction. I'm scared to share it because I also think the drawback is everyone thinks, you know, you're on social media, things are good, you're constantly happy. انتي سعيدة على طول على السوشيال ميديا، الحياة حلوة، الدنيا بخير. بس هو لا، in fact في أيام الدنيا مش كويسة، الدنيا وحشة، ومحدش في السوشيال ميديا أبدا بيطلع يعيط. عمري ما شفت حد طالع أنا عندي اكتئاب، مفيش. الدنيا على طول تحفة. مش على الجريد بتاعتي، مش في الإكسبلور.
بس it's another positioning.
Exactly.
بالنسبة لآرك أو عبد الله، إنه تشارك جانب شخصي في السوشيال ميديا is a bit dangerous because you will get scammed. يعني كمية الإيميلات اللي يبون بس to hack him، وأغلب الديجيتال artists يعانون من هذه المشكلة. فالأفضل إنه تكون your personal life يعني very away من your art.
بالنسبة the art.
Yes.
But I do believe إنه كمان يعني social media created everyone as artists. يعني صرنا كلنا artists trying to show the personality we want to show to the people. زي ما احنا كل واحد بيختار أشياء يحطها في بيته to come see this represents me. This is part of what my thinking is. These books show what I feel, and I feel kind of Instagram and Twitter and what you write is kind of this. يعني all of us are guilty of actually trying to curate as artists of our own selves on social media. Definitely for artists, I think they try to revolt out of that. Yeah. Yeah.
It's different it's different كمان على حسب المنطقة، لأنه أنا عندي خطوة في الخليج وعندي خطوة في أوروبا، وأشوف إنه رؤية يعني the way people in Europe are seeing, especially in France, big nation of art, the way people are seeing social media is very different from the way نحن في الخليج يعني نشوفها. في الخليج في هاي this decomplexion of استعمال السوشيال ميديا ومبسوطين. قصدي مش مبسوطين انه we're only high بس انه مو بعيب يعني خلاص كل واحد عنده انستغرام اكاونت وعلى طول بس تقابلي واحد
كونكت على انستغرام.
اوكي واتس يور انستغرام. بفرنسا القديمة it's very different. People are like okay yes do you have an email, can you please send me your portfolio, can you, and people I mean so I like the energy also and I'm very happy يعني مرة مبسوط انه بكون بهالمنطقة لانه فيها العفوية. We are very spontaneous in the way we share our art, we share our life for some people, it depends how we mix. But I feel that Europe is being a bit like the old Europe.
It's not linked to the, say it's a new generation, that the reality of art and Khalij and Gulf is different from the old Europe market way of doing art and being an artist.
في هاي شيء وكمان أنا that's اعتقادي. في فرق بين أوروبا والخليج إنه بالخليج let's say in Europe for years streets were a place where art used to be a platform.
Exactly.
We're talking about Banksy.
In the 80s in New York, for example, you had Basquiat, you had Keith Haring, all of them producing on the streets.
I do think that في منطقتنا إنه السوشيال media are the new streets.
I like this. It's something I never thought about.
ومش عيب يعني أنا يعني مرات ناس يجوني ويقولوا لي إنه but what are you an artist, are you an influencer? I'm like where are you going to ask like I don't know graffiti artist who was in the 80s in New York are you
a street artist or are you an artist?
Are you a dealer, drug dealer, or are you or are you an artist?
Yeah, exactly. So but it's true. It's two symbiotic. It's two very different, interesting viewpoints, and I think I think it's also like this point of social media. It's the creation and it's the consumption, and it's are you consuming consciously or are you consuming unconsciously? This scrolling and creating content for the I don't know, like when. How is it that you can differentiate between mindless scrolling and absorption of content, like proper, and this is what we're talking about. Ital Adnan, for example, if she was just an artist that was born now creating these very minimalist paintings and writing Mountain Palace beneath it, would she have had the same effect like that she had when she started creating?
That was a question, and also like she would have to get to explain herself on مليون شغلة مرتبطة بهويتها. So and she might have been known for some of the other reason than فنها.
I'm always surprised by her artwork. يعني her personality is something, and her artwork is a very simple, different.
But it just creates
deceiving by social media.
But the thing is, like, and the interesting part is that it makes you a complete person, a complete artist. And this is also part of the point where we have to also have an identity behind the art. انتي مش بس بتخترعي عشان انه انا كل حد ممكن يبقى فنان، مش ان انا بقول ان اي حد ممكن يبقى فنان، بس هو الفنان لازم يكون ليه موقف، لازم يكون ليه فكر، لازم يكون ليه ايديولوجيه. كل ده ما ينفعش ان انتي اصلا انا قررت ما كل حد يقول لك ايف كلاين he just does blue paintings.
وارجع اقول مثل ما قلت قبل لازم يكون في التزام.
بالضبط.
واحدة مثلا إثال عدنان we are speaking about certain period of her life بس هي سوت يعني a lot of things before.
هي إثال عدنان واحدة من سنة 1950 بتشتغل ومحدش بيبص على الفن بتاعها وما بطلتش.
وما حد يعني الحين ما حد راح يقولها no you were a journalist. or you were
a poet كاتبة شاعرة، ما حدش كان بيتكلم في الموضوع ده. واللي يخليها تختلف إنه أنت متخيلة من 1950 مش عارفة كام 55 ولا حاجة كده هي بتصمم فن وبتعمل فن والناس زبلاه مش عاجبها وموقفتش العقيدة. أنت عندك عقيدة تامة إن أنا هنجح كفنانة وإنه الفن بتاعي هيبقى ناجح.
وإذا قلنا بمبدأ إنه social media is like the street form, the streets of where art could come from, which is very true. لأن الواحد ممكن يعني بيحط في السوشيال ميديا كارتست بالذات بيحطه في السوشيال ميديا not with the consequences of أنا لهدف بستنى الحاجة معينة. It's for them. This is where they express their art. They're not waiting for something to happen يعني. ف it is the street for artists.
إيه ولا لأنه لما قلت إنه social media are the streets for artists. لما واحد من قبل يعني كان يسوي جرافيتي لو كان في ناس كانوا يعتقدون إنه هالجرافيتي حلوة جميل يتركون لا يتركون مثل ما هو بس بعد يومين 3 أيام أو أسبوع ممكن إنه البلدية وما أعرف شو إنه بيحطون يعني بوي عليها. So social media also very severe for artists. لأنه مثل ما حكينا من قبل they are like a test to share your art, your ideas. بس ردة فعل ممكن تكون يعني
positive و negative
إيجابية يعني أو يعني
بس it shows your experimentation as well in your process. يعني مو شرط إنه العمل اللي أنت حطيته this is a final work or this is the work.
بس مرات
بس ممكن تجارب والفنان عادي إنه مو كل تجاربه تصير successful. في ممكن بعض التجارب he fails and it's okay to be raw and I think social media helps with that.
It's okay but sometimes يعني it's when you are talking about الهوس or the obsession that people have on social media في also the judgment of the likes. واحد خلاص انه اوكي حتى القطعه هو يعني خلاص مستانس he thinks that his job is amazing وبيطلع له يعني 20 likes. So that can be also very destroying للفنان على اساس انه هو شغله كويس وزين وما في مشكله بس the problem maybe the platform didn't give him or her enough visibility. So it's why also when I was talking about التزام لازم واحد بيكون ما بعرف إنه you should have ثقة نفسية بعد.
وكمان it's not a censored platform.
No, it's not. It is.
It's not a censored platform.
I disagree with you.
يعني politically maybe. بس
artists
are not censored. يعني ما حد يقدر يقول إنه أنا ما أقدر أحط الشيء.
أنا غير متفقة معاكي. There is censorship. In very subtle ways. There is censorship.
يعني politically.
مش politically هو لو في حاجة هم مش عايزينها تبقى suppressed هتبقى suppressed.
بس كartist you can put what you want.
بس أنت ممكن تعملي اللي أنت عايزاه. بس في نبذة بيتكلم عن حاجة معينة هم عايزينها
تطلع أو ما تطلع
مش هتطلع
صح. حتى في الألوان
أيوة
إنه في دراسات يقولون إنه إذا تحطي يعني شيء أحمر
أيوة
هيطلع يعني بالفيل مثل شيء أحمر.
true بس أنا بتكلم كفنان لما يجي يبغى يحط إحساس إنه هو أنا ممكن أحط whatever I want without being censored بالذات في مجتمعات كثيرة عربية أو سعودية أو غيرها كانت عاشت فترة طويلة ممكن يكون في censorship. فدحين لما أنا يكون في منصة من غير censorship الإكسبيرينس حق الفنان يختلف وتفاعل المجتمع مع العمل بيختلف يعني.
طب بالنسبة لأخوكي في إيه يعني بالنسبة censorship والتفاعل وكده هل ده بيأثر في عمله أو زي ما سفيان بيقول إن هو في العقيدة وفي self belief إنه في الشغل بتاعه؟
هو بالنسبة لعبد الله إنه دائما الارتست خصوصا في الديجيتال ارت مفروض إنه ما يبين توجهاته الشخصية والحلو في الديجيتال ارت إنه يعطيك المساحة إنه تبدع وتسوي satisfying art بدون ما أنت you pick a side أو تبي توصل مثلا مبدأ مختلف عن المجتمع أبدا يعني. فهذا الجميل بالموضوع. والشيء الثاني لما كنتوا تتكلمون عن موضوع إنه ممكن إنه في أحد يكون يعني تبيع عملك الفني عن طريق السوشيال ميديا. مثلا عبد الله من اسبوعين تواصل مع سثبيز من فرنسا جدا بسيط بشكل جدا بسيط يعني هو كان يتابعه من كم سنه وجت فرصه انه يكون في ديجيتال ارت اكزيبيشن ان باريس وتواصل معاه وهو افان. فشو كيف مره بسيط ومره يعني
ده اللي احنا اتكلمنا عليه السوشيال ميديا يعني. انا في الكواليس قلت لهم حطيت صوره ايتال عدنان سوري ان انا برجع لايتال عدنان وحد someone literally he was following the hashtag بتاعت ايتال عدنان collector عايش في ايداهو بلد البطاطس. انا قلت اكيد واحد امريكاني عايش في ايداهو ايه اللي هيعرفه اصلا how does he know ايتال عدنان how can he even have seen ايتال عدنان and he ended up buying an Ital Adnan and it's all because of social media. But social media is revolutionary. One, it it creates dialogue, it creates space, it creates our narrative, it creates our notebook. There are definite positives, there are definite negatives, but it's like with anything. يعني هو المجال ممكن تفضلي تتكلمي فيه وتفضلي تبدعي فيه. يعني مش حاجة ليها، مش عاملة لك ليميت. في ليميتس يعني subtle limits censorship، بس في ناس بتعرفي تلعبي بالcensorship ده. بس هو tool، وبالذات في كوفيد we didn't even touch upon this، عمل ثورة.
I can tell you an experience حصلت معي.
تفضلي.
كان في الغلاف اللي سويناه للمجلة لوقت كورونا. طلبنا من designers, different designers of different forms and artists to design masks. A jewelry designer and artist designed a black diamond with chains mask. And it was the cover ومحطوطة in a way that the girl kinda looks like a Virgin Mary, kind of. This يعني أنا completely نزل بس في السوشيال media. We did not print this issue. And the feedback on that issue was insane. لأنه we were able to do this because of lack of يعني
print.
يعني no print. فقدرنا نحطها, and the feedback on it, there were people who were insanely interested about it, and بالعكس they really loved it. وطبعا there were people who went crazy, you know, how could you put something so يعني مو وقت كورونا to put something like that. So having that discussion and having that space for people to negotiate that art piece or that artwork, it's still something that يعني gives يعني the energy for people to create يعني.
I want to thank you guys all, because I think we're running out of time and we're going to have open the spot for questions. So if you have any questions for any of the people, panelists sitting, any points of discussion, we're happy to take them.
Thank you.
Yes.
My name is I'm a visual art educator. I was teaching the IB visual art for more than 10 years. I don't know if you have heard about it or not. It's يعني we're building the artist. When you were saying the process of how the idea is going to be in an artwork, or all this process, we spent 2 years just to prepare, like you know, in grade 11 and 12 students who are going to study visual art in the university. So we prepare them by history of art. Of course, we consider the history of art. So all that process, the experiments, you know, and their personal knowledge as well. If we're talking about the social media, actually I was thinking the visual art, actually the visual, if you think about the visual art, yeah, it's a visual language, okay? There is fine art and there is visual art. If I'm going to open an exhibition, I'm going to think about the artwork. I'm going to think where I'm going to put this piece. I'm going to think about the light. If I'm thinking about the platform, the Instagram, there is a lot of things before the artwork will be delivered to the viewers. For example, the photograph, of course, it's going to matter. The image next to the artwork. So for me, it's a different platform, and I think we can have like a virtual exhibition where we have a selective artwork. Then we can say, okay, those are artists. I think, yeah, everyone can be an artist, but not everyone can be a fine artist or someone. We were talking about Picasso or Basquiat, or of course those have spent many years to build that art life, you know, يعني الخبرة حقتهم هذه. For example, Picasso didn't start with Guernica. Yeah, he started with the still life. He was practicing. كلهم بدوا أسلوب واقعي. Process بسيطة, then they found their own style. Of course, in the Instagram, if we see a lot of beginners, they do still life, we see a lot of likes. I think it's also about the viewers who are receiving the artwork, the visual knowledge for the receiving the artwork. And also the story that they are building. For any brands, there is a story. So as an artist, of course, they're building a story. I think as a visual art educator, we have to consider for the artists the studies that they're taking. I know I agree with you when you were saying the artist should not stand and say the story behind the art. I agree with that. But for artists who are still beginners, who have to improve, who needs, you know, like a direction to build their pieces. Of course, they need in the beginning, you know, to teach him how to do the brainstorming, how to transform the idea as a visual language. I really enjoyed your discussion. Thank you so much.
Sorry, قصدي ما كان إنه maybe I mean my message was not. I didn't mean that artists don't have to do all this. I was saying that now artists are asked to do all this.
زمان ما كانش مطلوب من الفنان إنه هو كان في statement بس ما كانش مطلوب منه إنه عشان يبرر هو بيعمل كده ليه ولا بيبتكر كده ليه ولا الفكر والمنطلق من يعني. أيوه. وإن هو لا no bad art خالص.
بس تعقيبا على كلامك مين شاف كذا مرة an artist يجي فجأة ويلغي كل البوستات حقته؟ Okay. I believe إنه إحنا we don't notice that the artists now زمان they used to grow their identities privately. فممكن أو حقبة البلو إيرا حقبة different eras ممكن they can go through as an artist. بس أنت لما في عالم الانستغرام والسوشيال ميديا everything is still documented. This whole process will remain for all your life documented. فبيحتاج إنه الارتست يقدر to explain كل حقبة why he changed his identity.
But I feel really sad when they do that because
لأنه بيتحكروا.
It's what made his art at the end. It's the process that he went through, even if it's old and years, and even if he doesn't like connect to it anymore. It's
a part of the process.
It takes courage also just to know.
As an artist, I think for people, they want to see the journey when you started.
Exactly.
How it started and how it ended.
100% لأنه عشان لما واحد وصل هالمرحلة لأنه سوى أخطاء من قبل أخطاء أو لا يعني أو سوى يعني
identity shift أو development.
Exactly. He or she made some choices. ويعني هذا الحلو إنه بعدين واحد يرجع ويشوف يقول ليش أنت من قبل كنت متخصص في هذا النوع وبعدين you change completely to do different things. It's nice, yeah, I agree.
It's natural.
And I started doing things which were like very colorful, and people were telling me, "Oh, okay, you're more a pop artist." And then I noticed that I was using colors, or I was using, let's say, pop art things just to express
beauty or pleasure.
مش بس beauty or pleasure بس يعني how can I say a very superficial aspect of myself.
Okay.
بس مو معناتها انه الحين خلاص يعني كل شيء ابيض واسود ومكتئب او شيء بس انه
But did it
one is linked to another one.
Did it confine you from developing? يعني some artists اسمعهم بيقولوا انه لانه خلاص انعرفنا بطريقه معينه او صرنا معروفين بشكل معين في السوشيال ميديا it becomes very hard to shift to a different style لانه people يعني starts rejecting لا انت this is your signature you're not supposed to.
So then it's beyond social. Yeah, sorry. So this is beyond social media. It's maybe with the galleries. It's maybe with the like let's say with the values.
ما كلمناش خالص على galleries, which is a different like
the value exactly the value you're giving to yourself. أنا على الآخر يعني مثل ما كنا نقولون يعني من قبل إنه الفنان مش بس القطعة الفنان القصة وراء القطعة. So if your story has changed or if you want to show وجهة ثانية يعني من عملك من حقه إنه يتغير.
لازم يتغير. ما احنا بنتغير كبني ادمين فما بالك الفن اللي انت بتعمليه مش هيتغير ازاي يعني انت كشخصيه وكبني ادمه who you are من 10 سنين مش نفس الشخصيه اللي هتبقيها 10 سنين كمان قدام.
بس السوشيال ميديا puts pressure. أيوه.
عشان he wanted to be improved. I wanted to deliver this message, not because I have to do this funny thing or just because the people want to see that.
It's a thin line.
Thin limit between the personal Instagram, social media, you start the artist started personally, and at a certain moment it belonged to the viewer.
Absolutely.
I think this is the difference probably the social media brought to the art world. And the artists, as you said, as all you said, you can work in your studio, you can work whatever you want, and the galleries or the exhibition, the institution who decide to do an exhibition, they will choose what they will show from your art. The gallery will choose, probably will never see 70% of what you did. If the artist decided at the beginning to show everything, it belongs also to the public, and someone will decide what we like or not like, what is the value.
It needs also
We have to fight for microphone. But also, sorry, if I can ask, then if your journey as an artist is so well documented for the public to see, do you then feel as a content creator that your choices that you make are informed by their feedback? You know, if they keep like, I don't know, to simplify very, very simple terms, I keep posting like green paintings and everybody loves it so much that I keep doing more and more, even if it's not what I would have done otherwise. You know what I mean?
It's linked to how you use social media. If you use social media for
Gratification and then like
gratification, yeah, that's the problem.
It's
that's
part
what
of
we're
it.
saying
It's the
after.
addiction.
If you use it as a well, where you just shout in the well saying, "Hi, well of good wealth. Can you please tell me what's happening?" But you need courage, and it comes with confidence and courage, but with age also as well. Me 6-7 years ago, there's some things that I don't know. I wouldn't have faced the same way as I do now.
I used to do artist and studio visits for designers and artists, and I used to see a lot of artworks that was a completely different style from their usual style, from what they put on social media. So I used to ask them, why wouldn't you put this amazing art piece on media? They're like, no, this is completely different. They won't understand that I changed. So there's a pressure of being judged for being what kind of artist or person or a sort of artist I am, portrayed already on my social media, to actually develop or change.
But it's linked also to what we were saying before.
Confidence,
but also community. If you created community based on certain values, ومن يوم لبكرة خلاص غيرتوا كل شيء, you're changing all the things which are linked to your community, is different. So it's why you can use hints, you can use several elements, just also to make sure that people are understanding your process, your journey.
True.
Because if you invite people to the table, خلاص يعني people are here to eat patatas. If you bring them rice, you need to tell them why.
True. How do you feel about regular people having this access to communicate with the artist directly? So now, no matter how established the artist, people just send them a private message and the Instagram, and they reply. And this was no way to happen before. And now we have
there was a barrier, but you still are protected in social media with this barrier, because definitely you can choose not to respond and you can say you never got this message.
And I think it depends on which kind of message, because again, to come back on this idea of community, me, for example, some people who have, like, let's say, Arab, North African, Muslim background will understand a lot of things that I'm doing. But sometimes I'm receiving messages from people in Quebec, in Finland, asking me, okay, sorry, what is adhan, or what is this thing? Because for me, I grew up in a background where, like, adhan, I grew up in France, I was not used to hear adhan. فسبحان كل مرة أسمع الأذان, it's هدية. يعني I'm happy because I grew up in a place where I didn't have adhan. So, let's say my European followers or my European members of my community, I do have to explain a lot of several things. So it's why my page turned out to be educational also. Because sometimes some things were pretty, let's say, emotional. And then after I had people asking me, why? But then after it depends, how is the why?
But you choose to engage. or you choose not to engage, which is, I think, something your brother also does. He can choose to engage and he can choose not to engage, and this is a protective form in social media, because there are filters. You don't always have to engage and you don't always have to respond. There is a protection. There's a positive and a negative. There's a positive where you can connect with someone who's in a fan base, or you can also get abuse. Both of them exist.
Yeah, for him, it's very important to engage with his audience or his followers. لأنه مو كل العالم تفهم الفن أو من عبد الله behind arc. فحلو هو بالنسبة له لأنه disabled artist وما عنده accessibility إنه يروح يواجههم أو يشوفهم في private place، فما عنده اللي هو البلاتفورم السوشيال ميديا إنه يتكلم ويناقشهم. بس زي ما قلتي أنت تختار ترد على مين، وهذا مرة مهم.
مهم قوي. طب هل عندنا أي أسئلة تانية؟ Yes. Hi Dalia.
I have a question about the advancement of AI and how it's creating art now. I know you touched upon it now, but since it's a system that obviously doesn't have a soul, that's creating art using algorithms that literally taps into human interest. Is it a threat or not even a threat, a disruption in the market? Can we live now with this new world of an art generating system? How can we?
It's a different medium.
Yeah, I honestly don't think we have a choice in the sense that if it exists, it exists. It's a matter of how you're going to consume it or how you're going to allow it to infiltrate your life. But I don't think AI is going to go anywhere, and it's just going to keep advancing and keep evolving, and we're going to see art merging with AI and different outlets producing AI and art, and I think it's something that you're going to have to either accept or you're going to reject, like with any form of art that's new and it's generated in a new way. But I don't know, as artists, how you're going to...
Understanding that AI is what it is machine learning. What does machine learning mean? It means what it's generating. When it generates an art piece, it generates it based on what you taught it, what that machine learned. So it is collectively learning from everything that's out there in the world. But then again, when it's producing that artwork, it's producing it based on what you're feeding it. So there is an element of, and that's why I gave the example of the artwork that was based on a poem. So there is, we could either see it as a new art form, or we could see it that this AI is taking over the art world, and new artists are coming up that are AIs. But it's happening, as she said, it's happening. So might as well we make the best of it. That it's a new art form. This is a way we could actually create new artworks that we possibly could have never created before. Something that could create in seconds based on all the information that's out there from just choosing a combination of words from you that you have. So,
I don't know if it's going to be good or bad. I don't know if it's going to be beautiful or not, but it's there.
To face. For me, I think if you think about the idea of the conceptual art, we have seen many artworks in exhibitions that the artist didn't touch. It's just, the artist was delivering the idea. I think it's the same thing, right? If you give elements or input, and then it's the result and the reaction of the viewers.
Who was the artist that collected Hajj and items left by pilgrims? There was an artist who collected.
Found.
Yeah, it was in Jeddah. Yeah. Gharim, can Gharim? Ajlan Gharim. He collected basically letters left by from pilgrims. So he's really not the artist. He didn't write those letters, but it's again the thinking behind it. So yeah, we could definitely see AI as the same way. That's.
Yeah, I just wanted to also mention, since we're talking about AI and very interesting artwork work that we actually saw with Salma, if you remember, the light art space. So it's a continuous video work with an element of gamification to it, meaning that it constantly receives feedback from the viewers and it changes based on the feedback from the viewers.
I love that.
So yeah, that's another thing that's probably here to stay, whether we want it or not.
But you have even art episode in Art Dubai, the digital Art Dubai, many beautiful things. I think there is a new level of the, as you said, digital art is another topic. It's another topic, yes. Of course, I think social media, we can link it to social media because we are discovering what is AI art today through social media as a lot of other things, but AI and art is completely a different topic, but it's the digital world today, yes.
Do you have any more questions? And with this opportunity, I would like to thank, first of all my panelists for joining us. Thank you so much, and thank you so much for being here, being president, and engaging in this amazing conversation, super stimulating and thought-provoking. I want to thank the Visual Arts Commission team, Karim, Salma, Alina, for making this all happen and for bringing us all here. Obviously, the Diriyah Biennial Foundation for hosting us, and the Ministry of Culture, as always, for allowing us to have these conversations. So thank you, everyone, and I hope you enjoy our conversations. Thank you.